up with our motto, let learning be a joy and teaching a pleasure. Here we are with the remote teaching and learning process to bridge the gap. Happy learning, students.
Welcome, dear students. Today we are going to continue with the poem that we did in the last session 4.1. A thing of beauty is a joy forever. These are the things that we learn from the poem A thing of beauty is a joy forever, which has been written by the famous poet John Keats. Today we'll discuss the figures of speech and the rhyme scheme. So we'll start it with stanza wise. The poetic devices. The first figure of speech that we come across in this poem is epigram, which is a short or insightful statement, that is, the title itself or the first line itself. A thing of beauty is a joy forever, which means that the thing which is beautiful will never cease to make one happy. The second figure of speech is assonance, that is, the repetition of same vowel sound within the words. And we can see the example of this figure of speech in the line, its loveliness increases, it will never. So the vowel sound which has been repeated in the line is E. In the same way, the figure of speech consonants, where the repetition of the consonant sound is there within the words. And students, you have to find the figure of speech consonants on your own so that you better understand both assonance and consonants, which is new for you. The next is climax figure of speech that can be observed in the fourth line of the first stanza, full of sweet dreams and health and quiet breathing. Climax, where the words are arranged in ascending order of importance. Students, you must have observed the color coordination of the lines and the figure of speech that is done so that it is easy for you to relate. The next figure of speech is inversion. Inversion is the reversal of normal word order, that is, jumbling up the words for a better poetic effect. And that can be observed in the first line of the second stanza. Therefore, on every morrow are we reading. So the order should have been we are reading. The words have been jumbled for a better poetic effect. The next figure of speech is metaphor. That is an implied comparison or indirect comparison, which can be observed in the next line, a flowery band to bind us to the earth. This line, the term flowery band has been used, which is also an imagery. A flowery band has been compared to hope, happiness, or positivity. That is something that binds us to the earth. That because of that, we feel like seeing the next morning every day. Students, one thing that was mentioned in the last session also, uh, the terms which have been underlined are imageries. Okay, imageries are the terms that is used for poetic effect, that the where the poet makes us visualize or imagine. The next figure of speech is alliteration, that is repetition of initial consonant sound. Mark it, it is not about the letter, it is about the consonant sound. So that can be observed in the line. Now we can relate the color, that is, yes, in the second line, that is ban to bind, ban to bind. And also alliteration can be observed in the fourth line of the same stanza. The term is noble natures. So we can see that the initial consonant sound, that is B and N respectively, has been repeated for a better poetic effect, alliteration. The next figure of speech is transferred epithet. Transferred epithet, the modifier or epithet, and to make it easy to understand, it is also called as adjective, that is transferred from the noun which it is actually meant for to the another noun. And the examples of transferred epithet in this stanza are: first, noble natures. So here the adjective or epithet is noble and the noun is nature or natures, but the actual noun which the adjective noble is meant for is human beings. In the same way, gloomy days and unhealthy and over-darkened ways are examples of transferred epithet. Anaphora. This figure of speech is deliberate repetition or mention of word or words. The word can be mentioned or repeated in other line, as well as some other term can be used to refer to those words or that word in the next line. So the example of in this example is in this line, yes, in spite of all, in spite of all. So all means in spite of all which is there in the previous lines, that is gloomy days, unhealthy and over darkened ways. The poet has used the term all for all these another terms. That is how anaphora, figure of speech. And the next is personification, that is non-human things are brought to life or personified. And the last line is the example of personification, that is some shape of beauty moves away the pall. So shape of beauty, that is inanimated or non-human things have been given quality of human thing or human beings or personified for a better poetic effect. The next stanza, the first figure of speech is alliteration. Just now we have learnt alliteration is repetition of initial consonant sound which can be observed in the first line, such the sun initial S sound is repeated in the third line, simple sheep, and also in the fifth line, that is the C or that is the K sound, cooling covert. Alliteration. Climax, again we have already learned climax where words are arranged in ascending order of importance. So can be observed in the first line where the terms the sun, the moon, trees have been used in ascending order for a better poetic effect. Antithesis. Antithesis is the figure of speech, that is a contrast which is brought out by using opposite words. Keep in mind, antithesis is a contrast that is brought out by using opposite words. And here in the poem antithesis, the example of antithesis figure of speech in the second line. Again, we can coordinate or we can relate it with the color. So, trees old and young. So, the opposite words are in the same line, old and young, that has been done for a better poetic effect. Metonymy, the next figure of speech. Metonymy, where a term is, or you can say a word is referred as the term it is closely associated with. In the fourth line, we can see the term green world has been used. So, green world is the term which is closely associated with the word or another term forest. So, it has been done for a better poetic effect. The next is inversion. Inversion, that is reversal of normal word order, and we can observe this figure of speech in the line that for themselves a cooling covert make. So the words are jumbled, a cooling covert make for a better poetic effect. Oxymoron is the next figure of speech. Oxymoron is where the opposite ideas are put together or there is a juxtaposition. Again, students keep in mind there is a difference between antithesis and oxymoron. Antithesis is about opposite words, antonyms, whereas oxymoron is about opposite ideas and not antonyms. So, this figure of speech can be observed in the last line of the stanza here. We have imagined for the mighty dead, and the term which is can be held as opposite idea is mighty dead. It has been done for poetic effect. The next figure of speech is metaphor. We can see in the line, the second line, endless fountain of immortal drink. There is an implied comparison. Endless fountain, that is endless happiness. Personification in the line that whisper round as even as the trees that whisper. Personification, non-human things are brought to life or personified here. Trees have been personified for a better poetic effect, as well as in the line haunt us till they become a cheering light. Cheering light is also an example of personification figure of speech. The next is alliteration here. In the line the passion poesy, the initial P sound has been repeated. Climax example, so does the moon, the passion poesy, glories infinite. These words have been arranged in ascending order for better poetic effect. Antithesis in the line whether there be shine or gloom overcast. Opposite words shine and gloom in the same line. We are done with the figure of speech, students. Now another poetic device is rhyme scheme. The poem has been written in rhyming couplets, that is iambic pentameter, also known as heroic couplets. Iambic pentameter where each line is written in 10 syllables, stressed, unstressed and stressed, and the rhyme scheme is AABBCC. I'll give you one example. of iambic pentameter. We can see in the first line here all lovely tales that we have heard or read. We start with the first word which is in one syllable. Syllable is where we need to break the word in order to pronounce. So the word all doesn't need to be broken. It is of one syllable. All is unstressed. Lovely, two syllables. Love, stressed, and the later part unstressed. Tails, stressed, that is the fourth syllable. That, unstressed, fifth syllable. The next word we is stressed, have, unstressed, heard, stressed, or unstressed, and read is stressed. So that is how we come to know, or we can say that the poem, when you go through and when you see this whole poem, all the lines being written in iambic pentameter, 10 syllables, where the line starts with an unstressed word or syllable and followed by stressed syllable. Rhythm, which is a very important part of poem, is the quality of sounds or movements happening at regular period of time. Meter, arrangement of sound elements into strong and weak beats or accents. Now the next step is appreciation of the poem. First we'll see the points to be covered while writing the appreciation. First is title of the poem, the poet, rhyme scheme, figures of speech. Mostly we write one, two can be written as well. Central idea is the last point that should be written in minimum 4 sentences. Student, here is the appreciation of the poem. A thing of beauty is a joy forever. I'm sure the poem has been understood by all. Thank you, students. Stay home and stay safe.